Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we're going to tell you how we felt about Riddick. Riddick is the third movie in, I guess, what is now the Riddick trilogy, the Riddick franchise, and I kind of wonder if there's going to be any more after this.
Me
because
too.
I sort of expected this to be a cap-off to this franchise. Kind of, we're going to do one more, and it feels very open for more if they want to do them. This is a surprisingly simple story about Riddick being stranded on an alien world where the primary life forms are very dangerous creatures that all want Riddick dead, because that's what they do, you know. And so it's a story about survival, and it's a story about Riddick trying to survive on this planet, and then a bunch of mercenaries that he lures to the planet in an attempt to get off the planet, trying to get himself a ship to leave in a very clever plot, I thought, on his part. And he brings these people there, and they try to survive him, and he tries to survive the planet, and that's basically what the story is about. And then it's of course things are not exactly what they seem at the outset by the third act. Brandon, how did you feel about Riddick?
Okay, I felt like the distant future, while dark and foreboding, is still full of mystery, intrigue, and unrecognizable good guys in badass clothing. All right. I
like the word unrecognizable there. You're absolutely right. That's great.
Absolutely. A unrecognizable hidden, you know, it's a gem for sure.
What would you say is your favorite thing and your least favorite thing about this movie? Give us a positive and a negative to get us rolling.
A positive on this would probably have to be Riddick himself. Perennially through these movies, I've found Riddick to be this super likable psychopath. He is a madman with a method to his madness. Certainly, his motivations are given to us through the story and not through a narration, and I very much enjoy that.
A lot of visual storytelling in this movie.
A lot of visual storytelling, and you sort of get to understand where he's coming from. He's just a man who wants to survive, is all it is. We don't exactly know where he came from originally or where he's going to, but we know he wants to survive, and he's darn good at it. As for a negative about this movie, I would have to say the biggest thing I can come up with as a negative is it wasn't as off-worldly as I would have liked. However, this is kind of a double-edged sword, because while I would have liked to have seen more things taking place off of the world that they're on, much like we did in the others, the first one, Pitch Black, I mean, we got some space wrecks, things of that nature, if you will. I'm recalling a movie I haven't seen in several years. Yeah. But in the end, that's a small problem. There wasn't much of a problem I had with this. It started out with the slow pacing. I thought that was going to be a problem, but that is the movie. That the pacing is actually what drives this movie forward. And even though it seems like it's moving a little bit slower, it doesn't feel like a long movie at all to me.
Well, you adjust to it.
Exactly. Yeah, you do.
It's very deliberately paced. Yeah.
Exactly.
What's your verdict?
My verdict is, I'm feeling it.
Brandon, Riddick made me feel the danger and impact of every blow, jab, stab, gunshot, and death.
Very nice.
And I would say that is the best thing about the movie for me. I really that's my big positive. And there's a lot of things to like about this movie. Let me, by the way, start off by saying that I had no interest in this.
Right.
I saw Pitch Black years ago when it came out. I never got around to seeing Chronicles of Riddick, so
yeah.
I felt like I shouldn't even review this movie.
I pretty much dragged you to this movie.
This was one you
basically
really wanted to go to, so we went, and I said, well, Brandon, I'm not going to be qualified. And he's like, well, let's do it anyway. So I'm going on record to saying I'm not qualified to review this movie, and yet it is a film that you don't have to have seen anything else to see.
And that's kind of what I told you. I was like, even if you don't remember the first one, I felt like, and you hadn't seen the second one, I felt like you wouldn't have had to see any of the others to know it, and that was one of its good qualities.
Our audience watching this movie, and again, this is my favorite thing. Our audience watching this movie kept reacting to things collectively. Yes. I felt like we were part of a collective consciousness, and everybody was at the right time, and laughing at the right times,
yes.
and cringing and turning away at the right times, and I really enjoyed that experience. Now, had the entire audience not reacted that way, I'm not sure if I would have had the same experience with it, but I felt like that's a testament to the quality of the storytelling here and the sophistication of it. There's a fantastic story structure, and you were talking about the deliberate pacing.
Right.
It is really good at making me feel what not just Riddick but these other characters are feeling.
So
that's my best thing.
That's kind of what you liked about it. So what's your negative?
Well, I really liked this movie. I'm having a tough time with that. And I don't want to cop out and say that my big negative is that Carl Urban is in it for 5 seconds.
We'll talk about that.
That is in there. Now, was he in the last one?
I don't think so. But at that time, I didn't really know who Carl Urban was.
So that's just really strange.
It was a cameo.
This is so minor. There are places. There are a couple of places, and it doesn't happen very often, where I feel like Riddick's abilities are a little over the top compared to the rest of it. Mm-hmm. Like, we get this whole opening act where we're mostly just watching this guy try to survive, and everything he's able to do, all of his ingenuity and his resourcefulness, which by the way is what I liked so much about him, it all seemed like I bought it. But he's got a thing in the third act where he has this escape. He's in chains, and he does this escape toward the end of the movie. And he does this thing with a sword where I was just like, no freaking way, man. It was going a little against the internal logic. And I realize this is a heightened universe, this is a stylized universe, but even for the as much as my suspension of disbelief is working in this movie, that was going a little far.
That might be one spot. So you would say
otherwise I'm definitely feeling
all
it
right.
on this one.
Sounds good.
Brandon, I was so relieved at the end when it was not the cynical thing I thought maybe it was.
Yes. Well, you talked about maybe this would be a cap on the franchise. I thought maybe that's what they were doing.
Well, maybe they were. Yeah.
Well, they didn't do that.
You're saying.
I thought what you're talking about was the cynical and.
I guess I was just going to say that even if they decided, if they did decide to quit here, it'd be a nice send off for the character.
It would have been a very interesting send off. It would have been a fitting send off for this character, I felt. But then they didn't do that. They went a slightly different, and I thought that was kind of a redemptive quality of the other characters.
Yeah, I spent the whole time thinking these people have personalities. I'm as rough and tumble of a group of people these are, but they're mercenaries, and it makes sense.
Classic mercenaries.
Yeah, and that was really fun.
It was.
Like every single character had a line I laughed at in the middle of all of this carnage, and I really enjoyed that.
And it was meant that way.
Yeah,
and it was good.
And you get to the end, and I still got hope in humanity. And science fiction can be wonderful for that. Now, science fiction can also point out the terrifying possibilities of our futures too. But I like that this was so level-headed. It kind of did both.
It's nice that it's in the human universe, and that the technology is so relatable. It might be futuristic technology, but those hogs they were riding, they were straight up motorcycles.
Yeah.
Futuristic motorcycles. They had the sound, they had the look and feel. Vin Diesel's riding along on a hog just like this, and that was great.
Yeah, it was really fun, and there's a little bit of a quirkiness to that.
There is, absolutely. I want to say this before I forget. I dug that female character. I can't think of her name right now.
That is Katie Sackhoff, and that is Katie Sackhoff basically playing in almost, well, not even almost. She's doing an exaggerated version of Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
That's Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica, and I wouldn't think that you could exaggerate that character, but she's pretty much doing what she did there, except she's even more violent here.
I like this. I liked her performance a lot, and I liked
she's a good actress.
Some of the lines that she had were just great, and then the payoff for those lines at the end of the movie,
it was good.
It was a good payoff for sure. And Vin Diesel's character of Riddick, he had some good lines related to her as well. That was just some fun stuff.
The visual aesthetic is just freaking pretty.
Yes, it is, and that's been the token for these, I think, in all three of them. And I want to see more. I do. I want more.
Well,
Riddick.
It makes me want to go back and see Chronicles of Riddick now. I just didn't think I would care.
I'll watch it with you.
Great, yeah, we should. Vin Diesel was never an actor I really cared very much about. I really liked his performance in this. It's not brilliant, but it's not that kind of character either.
Right.
Like I just, I bought the man. I wasn't sitting there the whole time thinking, oh, it's Vin Diesel phoning in a performance.
Right.
I mean, I was watching Riddick, and I liked the guy. It's about a character who is almost like Wolverine, really, at the core, kind of a savage, and he had kind of a taste of being civilized. Didn't really like that, but then some of it stuck with him, and he's more humanized now, but not to the point of he's no fun anymore either.
He likes to mess around,
and that's really nice. You get to the end of it, and his character arc is very much about balancing those two things.
Yes, I would say so. So overall, just a good experience.
It was just a really fun time. If you're a little queasy, it might not be for you. It's definitely a violent film. There's violence. I think it needed to be there, but
it wasn't gratuitous like some of the things we've seen recently. Definitely, it was there for the purpose of the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
The story required it.
Yeah, but there are just some things that might make certain people cringe.
Absolutely.
I just thought I would throw that out there and let people know about it.
Well, there's a reason it's rated what it's rated for, violence and.
But it's very consistent about it and the level of it is. And
exactly.
I don't feel like it's trying to surprise me with it and like keep topping itself or anything. I didn't really think. Really imaginative visually.
Yeah.
Honestly, Brandon, I think I could have almost dealt with an entire movie that was Riddick, Vin Diesel, by himself, surviving on this planet.
Absolutely. I dug the relationship with the Dingo Dangos.
Oh, yeah! That was so cool. Seeing probably one of the most interesting things in the movie is getting to see Riddick domesticate this alien dog.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
What a cool idea. There was a lot of inspired stuff here, I thought.
For a land devoid of humans. When he's trying, the initial premise is he's trying to find the land from the last movie. He's trying to get back there, and he gets double-crossed.
Yeah.
And he ends up deserted on here without a way to get back.
That's your flashback with 5 seconds of Carl Urban.
Yeah. Let's talk about Carl Urban.
Well, that was one of the things that made me go, okay, fine, I'll go see Riddick. Carl Urban's in it. And
I didn't even know Carl Urban was there.
I was so glad that I ended up liking the movie anyway, because it didn't matter that Carl Urban was there. Because in fact, I spent the whole movie waiting for him to show back up.
Yeah, me too. Well, I kind of by the middle of it, I'm like, okay, stop waiting for Carl Urban because we got him. He's done. He's finished.
So yes, I kept thinking maybe there would be some off-world stuff at the end where we would see him again.
Me
too.
I
really liked that the scope wasn't too big.
Right. It didn't try to go outside of its boundaries. Didn't try to pull us into other things that weren't going on.
Yeah, it reminded me of Alien in that way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in that way, and in the aliens themselves on this planet.
I wasn't even thinking about that, but yes, that's connected too.
They're scorpion-like with their back pincers and things, but they also their mouths and their drooling is very alien-like.
Yeah, and these, if I'm remembering right, is this a different creature than the water creatures?
No, those are the water creatures.
That's what I thought. Those are the water creatures.
The rains.
And I thought that was really interesting because they're almost like worms in that way. They come out every time it rains.
They are. They are a little bit. So I would say overall, I'm feeling this movie.
Yeah, me too. And
the
I was
experience
just sucked
good.
in.
Yeah, me too. So
I was so pleasantly surprised, and I might have partially been that way just because I had no expectations because I didn't even want to see it, and so I went in and I had no idea whatsoever what I was in for.
Well, I'm glad your experience was a good one.
Well, yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I'm glad I got you to go.
Well, Ray, thanks as always for watching us review a new movie, and we will review something for you once again next week. Brandon?
Yep.
See you later, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks for being on the show. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.